Now that we've seen the process of creating sequences, I'm going to pick up from where we left off here by looking at populating and editing by using the source monitor initially and then using those ranges that we select and placing them on our timeline. So first of all, I'll double click on this beach number 1, this video file here in our project panel so that I can open it up in my source monitor. You'll notice I've already got a range set up, and this is from the last time that I looked at it here in the source monitor. If you don't close down a particular clip, then Premiere Pro remembers the last time that you looked at it and the settings that you made. Although, of course, if you want to, you can adjust as necessary to get the part that you want to use. And then once you have got that ranged area, just below, as we've seen before, hit the insert button there to send the designated range to the timeline and to our sequence. Now in this example, of course, because we used that insert button, we have got both the video and its embedded audio component. It's quite a short section, so what I can do to zoom in on this is left click on this horizontal scroll bar just down here and then zoom in. At this point, you could use a different video, or you can use the same source clip if you want to, here in the source monitor, to extract and use another section. So I'll redefine the range I want to use, this shorter later range for example, and then the same thing, I'll hit this insert button once more. Well, actually, just before I do, because my CTI is at the start of our sequence at the moment, if I hit the insert button now, well, that ranged area would be placed at the beginning. If I want this second ranged area to be after our first ranged clip, then I need to move my CTI to the end of clip 1. So now that I've done this, I can hit the insert button, and there it is. I'll just zoom out slightly to see both clips. Okay, so then now we'll build on our sequence by utilizing ranges from our second video. So I'll double click on beach number 2, this video file here, to open it in our source monitor. Remember, we can have a number of different video files open in the source monitor and vacillate between them, selecting areas that we want to use. So with this beach number 2, I'll set a range by using the out point button first, and then now I'll hit the insert button. This range from the beginning of a file to this out point has now been brought in at the end of our sequence. Now before I do anything else, just out of habit, I'll do a quick save. So I'll go up to File and then down to Save. Okay, now at this point I don't really require these two videos in my source monitor. So if I want to remove them, I can click on the drop reveal arrow there and choose Close All. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another sequence now because, well, let's just say it is, even though it is quite short. Let's just say sequence 1 is complete. So a slightly different way of creating a new sequence, but we have seen this before. Click the button down here at the foot of our user interface to add a new sequence. As I say, we've done this before. Now I'm going to leave this preset and all the different settings alone, but I will choose a new name. I'll call this one Beach B rather than Beach A, and then simply OK it. And then at this point all I need to do is populate this new separate or distinct sequence with some new ranged clips. Notice within our timeline panel we have two tabs, Beach A, which is what we were working on a moment ago, and this new sequence, Beach B. So now I can populate this second sequence, Beach B, but rather than using ranges extracted from the source monitor, I can left click and drag and drop directly onto the timeline this whole video. And then from this point we can trim on the timeline later. We'll look at doing this as we progress. For the moment though, we've now seen how we can edit and populate, initially by extracting ranged areas within our source monitor and placing those on the timeline, but we've also looked at creating a brand new sequence and having that open in parallel to our first sequence and seen how we can drag and drop a full video clip onto the timeline, ready for further editing.